What is going on YouTube? Your boy Zen is back with another video tutorial of a free code cam challenge section called React section called render a class component to the DOM. So it says that you may remember using the React DOM API in an earlier challenge to render JSX elements to the DOM. The process of rendering React components will look very similar. The past few challenges focus on components and composition, so the rendering was done for you behind the scenes. However, none of the React code you write will render to the DOM without making a call to the React DOM API. Here's a sorry about that, guys. It's been a long day and I'm already feeling sleepy, but this video has to be done before I go to sleep, so let's get back to it. So it says that here's a refresher on the syntax. So that's the syntax, how we renders HTML to the DOM. Alright. So the first argument is the React component that you want to render. Alright. The second argument is the DOM node that you want to render that component within. So ensure contents to render and where the contents should render in this in the second argument. So it says React component are passed into React DOM.render a little differently than JSX elements. For JSX elements, you pass in the name of the element that you want to render. However, for React components, you need to use the same syntax as if you were rendering a nested component. For example, this is how you would do in React. Alright, so you give the component to render and then the target node. So this component would be as a nested element. Alright, so it says you use this syntax for both ECS class components and functional components. Okay, cool. So it asks us to do the following tasks here. So it says both the fruits and vegetable components are defined for you behind the scenes. Alright, yep, these components have already been defined behind the scenes. Render both components as children or types. Oh wow, I'm really tired. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the challenge. Render both components as children of the types of food component. Alright, so this is that's the type of food component, and we need to render these both components in here, I'm assuming. But let's find out if that's really the case. Then it says types of food component, and then render types of food component to the DOM. So types of food component has to be rendered to the DOM as well. Right, cool. So it says that there's a div with ID challenge with a challenge node ID available for you to use. So alright, let's take it step by step. Okay, so it says that fruits and vegetables are component defined for you behind the scenes. Render both components as children of types of food component. So this is a types of food component, and we need to render fruit and vegetables over here. So I'll just expand this section a bit to make the code a bit more readable. and then what I'm gonna do is apply two self tags, 1, 2, and then one's for fruit, so I'll give it fruit here, and one for vegetables. Alright, cool. But I don't think that the test is completed yet. Let's just test it for now. Alright, so these three are done, and now we need to pass this test as well. So it says that the types of food components should render to the DOM within the div with the ID challenge node. So within the div ID, yep, the types of food component. Alright, cool. So now that's done, and now we need to render the types of food component to the div with the ID challenge node. So I'm gonna use this code over here, which they've already introduced. Right, this one. So I'm gonna copy and paste this part. Actually, I'm not really gonna copy and paste this part, because for you guys it's important you type in everything to get a feel for it. Okay, so I would do react DOM render, and then and then the component the content we want here, and then the target node. So the content we wanted would be the types of food component. Alright, and then where do we want the content in types of food component to be rendered? In the DOM. So it's given this ID already, so what I'm gonna do is just say target, actually in quotations, challenge node. Alright, with the ID as well. Alright, hopefully that would do the trick. Nope, it doesn't. What did I do wrong here? Oops, sorry, my bad guys. I've had to give it the proper reference. So I'll do document dot get element by ID, and then in brackets I would do this. Alright, and then another close bracket to close the entire render method. Alright, see how it's come here? So I really hope you understand the concept on how to render the class component. Alright, this class component to the DOM here. Alright, if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below, and I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as possible. Until then, have fun practicing with this new concept, and I'll see you in the next video.